Okay guys, welcome back to another blockchain news video. Today in the news we have quite a bit going on. We got Hong Kong, we got a little bit of SEC news, Ripple in the news, also Iran trying to get past sanctions, Coinbase news, and some DeFi. Right now the market's in the red, guys, and there's not really much I can say about it other than we're hanging at that 8,800 level for Bitcoin. It's been an absolute bloodbath for many alts. It sucks if you got caught up on the way down. But the main thing here is to remember that overall, midterm to long term, guys, we are definitely bullish. Don't forget the positive news that we're getting constantly in regards to this market, guys. So Bitcoin currently 8,800, down about -4%. Ethereum 223, XRP 23 cents, just got pummeled down. Bitcoin Cash 325. Bitcoin SV 232. The entire rest of the market is looking pretty red also, guys. We got Link moving up, Tezos up 6%, Lisk actually up 9%. But then again, these are probably just averages out. Tezos is actually doing pretty good, guys. It seems to have broken out of that bottom trend. So congratulations to everybody that was holding on faithfully to Tezos. It seems like you should be on your way back up here with a 7% gain almost on the daily. So guys, let's go ahead and jump into the news. First up, we have Hong Kong to consider additional FATF style regulations for crypto exchanges. So we remember that we talked about Binance, being now the headquartered office within Hong Kong, and they're still in Japan. They said that they were loving how things were working with regulations in Japan. Well, hey, a few days later, now we get some news from Hong Kong in regards to they're going to get a little bit more strict with all the regulations regarding cryptocurrency. So this is going to affect cryptocurrencies that are being traded not only locally, but also internationally for these exchanges. So they're going to have to definitely clean up some of the things that may be happening on their exchanges. This may affect Binance. Again, not trying to, this is just my opinion. I think it could affect it because Binance is within Japan unless they get some form of special treatment. But we know just how open Binance has been about, getting new fiat currencies going and so many other things in their platform that, it could get hurt based on the changes that Hong Kong might have. So they're saying authorized institutions should keep abreast of international and local developments to maintain an up-to-date understanding of risks. And they want to apply a risk-based approach that supports responsible financial innovation as well as effective money laundering risk management. So just that kind of same idea of monitoring the AML. Next up, we have over 190 million in Bitcoin liquidated on Bitmex amid crypto market sell-off. So this really sucks, guys, if you got wrecked in this sell-off here that took place with Bitcoin because you were long and you saw an easy gain. So you probably went and did a 25x. I'm very sorry if you got caught up in this loss, but a bunch of Bitmex got liquidated. So right now it's the largest amount of liquidations we've seen since the beginning of the year, rising well above 100 million, guys. Pretty tough. It sucks because personally, once you see the market so bullish and with so much confirmation, I myself, I thought about it. I don't really dabble within the options here for Bitmex on their derivatives, but I thought, I was like, man, this should be probably easy gain for those people that are doing this. And then, hey, here we go on that retrace. So maybe some people did lose a lot of money there, and that's what it seems like, being that it was the highest 2-year date. So right now we have, when there is a large amount of notional volume on a downward price, that generally signals the movements of a legitimate bearish one. So they're saying that basically it wasn't manipulation, it was just a bearish move, and hey, that's what happens, you get liquidated. Next up, we have SEC rejects latest Bitcoin ETF bid. So this one was actually being presented in a different way because they were trying to see if they could finally get the SEC to budge and approve Wilshire Phoenix's bid for a ETF. But it did not get approved, and what we're seeing from the commission is that they stated the requirement that the rules of a national securities exchange be designed to prevent fraudulent and manipulative acts and practices and to protect investors in the public interest. So pretty much what they're saying is they're not seeing the proper rules and regulations in place from the exchange's side to keep fraud and manipulation from taking place. Now, granted, we had Commissioner Hester Pierce, who is also known as Crypto Mom in the space, and she actually wrote up a dissent and stated that there is a heightened standard for Bitcoin products. So again, guys, keep in mind, it seems like the SEC is really trying to not approve these, even though these, proposals are looking pretty good. And then she went on to say, which I'm blown away by the fact that she said this. The SEC had not required surveillance sharing agreements with markets of significant size in the past. So that kind of brings question, the argument of rejecting this Bitcoin ETF. So this line of disapprovals leads me to conclude that this commission is unwilling to approve the listing of any product that would provide access to the market for Bitcoin, and that no filing will meet the ever-shifting standards, guys. So ever-shifting standards that this commission insists on applying to Bitcoin-related products and only to Bitcoin-related products. So pretty unfortunate. That's the time we live in. They are in control, but it really seems like Hester Pierce is going out on a limb here and sticking her neck out to be very transparent. I think this may backfire on her, but now at least we know that the SEC is kind of being a bully when it comes to getting these Bitcoin ETFs in place, unfortunately. Ripple class action lawsuit can't proceed, judge rules. So we know that Ripple has been in a lawsuit by an individual that had purchased XRP and then pretty much complained and decided to sue Ripple for selling unregistered securities. Now, right now, even though the court cannot conclude that the defendant, which is Ripple, had actually offered XRP to be sold publicly before August 5th, 2016, they're still going to move forward with this incident. So they're going to go ahead and continue the lawsuit. And right now, they do admit that they did have settlements that took place with the U.S. Attorney's Office during 2013 and sales in their May 2015, but they actually did not show any general public offering to sell XRP. So it looks like Ripple should be in the clear. It's same for XRP. And I think this is just getting prolonged. I think it should just get stated that XRP is not a security. That's what I believe. Next up, we have tokenized US T-bond fund seeks foothold in 17 trillion market. So this 17 trillion market is for the US Treasury bonds. And the proposed way that they're going to go about it is called Rcoin, and is going to be investing in the Treasury mainly for buying bonds from a broker or acquiring shares in a fund that holds them. So it's going to be pretty modern, pretty interesting to have it this way now. And it's going to be a big pool of money, guys. $17 trillion market. Now, this hasn't been approved, but in any case, it's important to keep in mind how bullish some of these individuals are by presenting some of these products, okay? Because like we just mentioned, we got shot down with the Bitcoin ETF, but here we go with another big product. And again, the SEC has to determine what the heck they're going to do. So it seems like the SEC is just getting absolute pressure. It's not just, oh, we want a Bitcoin ETF. Now we're starting to see different products that it's pushing the SEC to say, hey, we're going to have to approve these at some point. And these are big players. They're not just going to sit back and let the SEC just bully them, So let's see how it plays out. ARCA executives are saying the ease of transferring cryptos over blockchain networks means an investor could even pay for goods or services using the Treasury bond tokens. Just absolutely interesting. Modern ways of moving finance. And people are actually starting to catch on, especially some of these old players that are used to the old ways of the U.S. Treasury bonds. Next up, we have prime broker Tagomi becomes 22nd member of Facebook's Libra Association. So basically, they're going to be joining up. Tagomi is a prime brokerage service, a crypto prime brokerage service, and they're going to be joining. Even though Libra has had their big players like MasterCard, Visa, Stripe, and other ones just fall off, what we've seen is that people take their spot, and this might not be the same as saying, oh, MasterCard's on my team, Visa's on my team. But in any case, you have Shopify on your team, kind of is a big deal, right? There's a lot of people out there, a lot of big businesses that run off of Shopify. So next up, we do have Iranian general calls for use of crypto to evade sanctions from the U.S. So Saeed Mohammed stated, "We are demanding the creation of a more sophisticated mechanism to bypass sanctions. To circumvent sanctions, we must develop solutions such as the exchange of products and the use of cryptos with our partners in other countries." Now, I'm not going to get into the technicals of my thought process for should sanctions be in place from the U.S. for Iran or not. I'll let the politicians deal with that thought process. But I guess from a more neutral approach, when I think about this situation, it's unfortunate because not only is their finance, their fiat currency has dropped significantly. So this now affects locals that are within Iran, right? Their economy just gets destroyed. So a lot of these individuals now are used to saying, hey, we are probably getting shot down. We have these sanctions and they may or may not be correct, but in the end, they're affecting their economy entirely, right? So that, to an extent, that's what Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies can provide. They can provide other opportunities to evade sanctions, right, from the fiat world. Let's see how it plays out. I do not believe the U.S. is going to back down. I believe the U.S. government's going to keep pushing. But this is the thought process of some of the Iranian general. Next up, we have half of a Cash App's revenue now comes from Bitcoin. Pretty interesting, guys. So half of Cash App's entire revenue is coming from Bitcoin. Right now, it's equating to around 8 million in profits from 2019. And this is, of course, the company also from Jack Dorsey's firm Square. And Jack Dorsey is a Twitter CEO, so he's doing pretty good. It seems like he's got his foot in the door in a lot of different areas for crypto. They're stating that each user is conducting about $7.42 worth of monthly Bitcoin trades on average. Not a lot, but if you think about it, this is what we've been trying to get at, right? We've been wanting smaller Bitcoin transactions to take place, and it looks like they're happening, guys. So, pat yourselves on the back. We're getting there. Not always the largest numbers are required, to be heard or shared in the news, right? You don't need to constantly see millions and millions, but seeing kind of real world use cases in this kind of, trading at least on average going on monthly is pretty good. And then also they had a campaign that took place within TikTok. They have some musicians make songs about Cash App, and that probably brought them some new users. So I'm not one to use TikTok, but hey, good to see TikTok in some way helping the crypto space. So next up, we have a price analysis for today. We have the top 10, top 11, 12 coins. We have Tezos, Cardano, BSV, Litecoin, EOS, Ethereum, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin, of course. So right now, what we're seeing is that the market, of course, dropped. It's a fall of about 19.5% ever since we went to the highs. And we have Tim Draper is still very bullish on his target for 250K Bitcoin by the end of 2022. When we review some of the charts, guys, that is what we're looking at. And that is why I always say stay focused on that midterm to long-term thought process here. Again, not financial advice, but that's just my reality. We have a volatile market. It's good that cryptocurrency is pretty volatile because, again, we want to keep the excitement of trading going, the daily and the swing trading, okay? Even if it does mean, wow, I'm 10% down on my holdings today. But as you can see, just different charts here for Ethereum, Bitcoin, different levels that we need to hold. We need to hold support at that 235 level for Ethereum. We need to rise above that 9,000 level for Bitcoin if we want to get some breathing room so that we don't keep going down, and so on and so forth. XRP just plunged way below 26 cents. I don't know about XRP. I don't know when it's going to stop. It's unfortunate. The downside continues. You can see all the way down to 19 cents according to this article. So kind of continues following the chart patterns, and that's actually, it's good analysis, I think. But it just sucks that it took was one major sell off, people just selling off for no reason, taking profits, and we tumbled all the way down to this level. CryptoKitties creator and UFC to launch tokenized MMA Tamagotchi. So Dapper Labs, the company behind CryptoKitties, is going to partner up with the UFC, guys. Pretty cool here. Basically, they're going to be provided branded collectibles for UFC fighters and specific UFC items. So that's going to be cool. It's going to be spending money in Flow apps is more like collecting sneakers or signed gloves you can sell on eBay anytime rather than spending money in video games. So this is going to be based for fans, people that like to follow UFC and that have special appreciation for fighters and just the environment. So that's going to be pretty good. Again, we've seen something like this already for the soccer environment, right? But now this is coming into UFC. So we're continuing to see how it just spreads around the cryptocurrency space, guys. Everybody seems to want to tokenize their items. Next up, let's give some love for EOS, guys. EOS burned 132 million worth of tokens to curb inflation, and I'm actually very, very happy to hear this news. I have and you can definitely tell by my tone, I've had love-hate relationship with EOS, bit annoyed with certain things that have happened, but just seeing this from the community gives me hope and might actually get me to look back into EOS at a deeper level again, just to see what the environment is like. Because the biggest issue that we had was when the whole thing with Voice first announced, it kind of showed us that, hey, Block.one, they're definitely focused on EOS mainnet and the work that goes into providing software, but they also have another project in mind. And there was a little bit of confusion, and that did tumble some things down. But on the bright side, now what we're seeing is that the tokens that were burned was up to around 132 million, and the community decided this by voting by themselves. It wasn't they didn't try to get Brendan Bloomer involved. He didn't even know. He tweeted that out, and that's awesome. And then they also changed the supply growth from 5% all the way down to 1% per year. And that's just going to go directly to the block producer. So that is awesome news. I am happy to see that, guys. I think the network is definitely maturing. I think we have more mature people voting in EOS, and that is attracting my interest. So I'm going to keep an eye out on them. I'm going to do a little bit of more research like I used to with EOS, about a year ago, before everything just kind of started turning sour for me. But this is motivating me, and this is a delegated proof of stake that I wanted to see when I joined. So pretty good to hear here. Next up, we do have Coinbase Wallet officially supports the Ethereum name service. So Coinbase, as you can see, is a top app downloaded for the free ones, and they've solved a problem, brought some innovative technology. The Ethereum name service that we've seen before, it's now integrated with Coinbase Wallet. Now you can just send payments to a .eth address instead of having to send a huge wallet traditional address. So that's pretty cool, just simplifying things here probably for newcomers, and it's also easier for people that have probably just been using Coinbase wallets for a while. They probably just want to get that crypto over and out. So it's good to be able to name it. And we also can send money through the usernames by having that @ symbol. So that's possible as well. So cool stuff here for Coinbase Wallet. RippleNet to boost remittances across Asia with new partnerships. So good news here from RippleNet. They're going to be expanding over to South Korea, and they also do have some new things coming for London-based remittance service Azimo. And they're going to be using their new on-demand liquidity corridor to the Philippines, and they're going to actually use XRP for that one, guys. So pretty good stuff. Slowly but surely, we continue to see big partnerships, big movements from Ripple. But again, it's always that constant battle of XRP versus RippleNet versus, whatever the heck they might have going on. But for this one, it's definitely XRP, and that's great news. DeFi can now choose to run trustless zero knowledge proofs. So this is going to bring privacy, guys, privacy to the decentralized finance world, and that's very good. I'm sure many of you would be extremely excited for this. And you would have to trust a third party to configure the system properly and to essentially, delete any secrets and stuff. So that way there's no trace of who requested what loan and who borrowed how much. But in any case, it's not a perfectly private system, but it's, we're getting there. We're getting there. So a world where we could have private, decentralized finance could actually happen, guys. And this is pretty exciting. It gets pretty technical here in this article, talking about ZK Snark, the technology behind Zcash, and how it's being applied for DeFi and all that good stuff. Pretty long article, but it gets pretty technical down there. And but the big thing here to take away was that a third party needs to be set up, it needs to be trusted, and then hope that that third party does properly discard the secrets and destroy any trace so that nobody finds them out in the future. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I know I have you here for about 21 minutes, so I'm going to start wrapping it up. If you liked the video, go ahead and click the like button. You can sub to the channel so you can get that blockchain news during Monday through Fridays. Comment down below. Let's get the convo going, and I'll see you guys on the next one.